Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We got audio this time. For some reason, they've switched all the audio back to here, so we got to figure out what's happened. So we used to be able to just jump on and do a Facebook Live from the studio, but now looks like everything's run through here. But not a big issue. I just don't get to control the radar as much from in here, but there's nothing on the radar right now, at least nothing big on the radar right now. I'm just going to check, see how many people are on. We got 71 on here now. What we're looking at for the rest of the night, pretty quiet. I don't think we're going to see much activity at all. A nice rain-cool boundary move through. Another day I didn't get any rain. I was hoping to throw some weed and feed out there, but that didn't happen. It happens to the weatherman too. So let's take a look at your forecast over the next 10 days. We've got some really nice weather coming after the nasty weather coming Tuesday. Now, I can't say for sure if this is going to be an outbreak of severe weather for us Tuesday. We're still, honestly, we're still too far out from this. It's not a classic setup. However, we have had higher end types of severe weather events when it's not a classic setup. We definitely have the instability out there. There's going to be a little bit of wind shear. It's kind of a setup similar to what we had Friday night, and it was really delayed. So the forecast guidance is a little bit more on board, so to speak, with this threat coming up Tuesday. So we're just going to have to watch it really closely. It will be more of a daytime / early evening time event. That also leads to stronger storms potentially because it's the heating of the day. More activities going on too, but it does not look like an overnight event. As we get beyond this, it's going to be really nice. Thursday, fantastic. Chamber of Commerce weather Thursday, Friday. Highs around 70, lows around 50 or so. And then your Memorial Day weekend looks good too. A little cooler out there on area lakes, things like that. We're going to get into this forecast right now. Got more of you joining on here. Some of you may be joining late as well. So here's the timeline I put together. The main reason the area in red is a little bit larger is because that's the area we may have these supercell type storms form. I say may, and I really want to stress that. I don't want to get anybody stressed out. There's a lot of stuff flying around about this Tuesday. And the problem with social media is everything just gets kind of everyone goes immediately to the worst case scenario, and I don't want to do that. But again, we may have some issues out there. As we go 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., keep in mind schools will be getting out between that 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. time frame. You got after school activities, may have some other outdoor activities. I don't know if we got any graduations coming up Monday or not, but again, it's that time of year. There's more outdoor events, more celebrations. Then 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., farther to the east, and we all pretty much have the same threat for severe weather. Here are the storm threats. We're talking about 60+ mile-per-hour winds. The latest discussion from the Storm Prediction Center indicating if this line gets more momentum with it, that's what I want to say, we could see some 70-mile-an-hour gusts. Keep in mind, every outlook's a little different, and the outlooks have kind of overperformed this year, going back to that high risk we had. I think that was in March or early April. Again, just because we're outlook and this 3 out of 5 outlook right now does not mean it's going to be a disaster, but you just want to make sure you're prepared. Heavy rainfall, that's going to be a given. Very intense lightning, as we saw today. Anytime you put this much water in the atmosphere, you're going to have some significant chances for lightning. Moderate chance for some hail. If we get hail, we're talking quarter-size hail. The larger hail and the larger tornado threat would be with isolated storms that can develop out ahead of a main line that will still be forming as it moves into the shoals. So 7 o'clock Tuesday morning, we don't expect a whole lot of activity. It's going to be fairly quiet. The wind will start picking up as we go through the day. And the model guidance shows a little bit of activity. I think it's probably we're still going to be capped, and that's another thing. The atmosphere above could be still just a little bit too warm for these severe thunderstorms to fire up. But if they do, they'll pretty much blow up and become severe rather quickly. So we'll watch that. As we get towards 3:30, notice the convection developing here along the state line. That'll continue to move to the east. And then that's where we'll probably have the greatest threat here, roughly between 5 and 7 o'clock. You can see how spaced out the storms are. That's always troublesome to see because that means they have more energy to work with. And then the main frontal system still to the north. But this kind of cuts off the shoals rather quickly, so that would be good there. But overall, I don't see a huge supercell threat right now. Something we'll watch. I wouldn't, there's a lot of people have anxiety over this, and we were hoping we'd be past this as the severe weather and tornado season usually begins to shift to the north around the first week of May. But this has been an exceptional May as far as the weather goes. And the last 2 weeks they've been challenging forecast-wise too. This is no exception. As we want to talk about tomorrow real quick, I'm going to talk more about this. right after this break. We're going to start this break. It runs 1 minute. I'll see you guys at, and if you're not sticking around, coming up at 5, I'll have the latest forecast on WAFF 48 News. All right, everybody, thanks for sticking around through that commercial break. We're going to talk, again, the rest of tonight looks pretty uneventful. I think it's going to be pretty quiet. And tomorrow, not much happening there. As we take a look at your forecast, tomorrow morning we may actually have a little bit of fog out there in the morning, but that's really about it. By noon, that's actually 6 o'clock in the morning, there may be a rogue shower, a thunder shower in the morning, kind of like what we had today, but not as much. And the storms last night actually had stayed south of us, and then we had that boundary that was moving north, and that's what created that bigger thunderstorm today over Huntsville. Again, had severe thunderstorm warning out for that, but no reports of any severe weather with it. And as we continue on, Monday, again, fairly uneventful, very warm, very muggy. Just kind of a day that we'll continue to monitor the threat for severe weather for Tuesday. Again, it's First Alert Weather Day. If you're just joining us there, we'll have much more on this coming up on WFF 48 News at 5, coming up in just about 15 minutes or so. Tomorrow, again, 86, an isolated renegade shower storm possible. But overall, the main threat here is going to be for Tuesday. We'll be talking about that over the coming hours. Thanks for tuning in. You guys have a great rest of your Sunday.